We all know about Malaysian Airlines flight MH370. We know that was a disaster in terms of the loss of life, just the fact that we don't know what happened, where did it go, and there was the cost in the search efforts to actually find the aircraft. Through this event, what we've discovered is there's actually significant gaps in the way we track aircraft globally. And so that is what Skykraft is all about. We are a satellite company. We build, design satellites for the delivery of global services. And air traffic management is the service that we are focusing on. So to do space, you need a strong team. You need to have experience, background, and knowledge about how you do satellites. And that is exactly what we've brought together. We have brought from overseas experts that have been involved in big space satellite missions. So we have Doug Griffin, he's our chief engineer. He was involved in the Solar Orbiter project in the UK. He's now come back to Australia to help us with the creation of CubeSats at UNSW Canberra Space, which are flying in orbit today. And also he's our chief engineer for Skykraft. We have Craig Benson, he's our lead of innovation. He's the guy that wears the white jacket, he's Mr. Q, and he is the one that's coming up with the novel designs that we need to put this constellation into orbit and actually achieve the outcomes that are required for air traffic management. Craig is a specialist in electronic warfare, signal processing and RF communications, so he's a critical part of our business. Myself, I came out of Airbus Defence and Space. I was the managing director of their geointelligence business unit, so I come with the business background. That's the space side. From the aviation side, which is also critical in what we're able to achieve, we have our chairman, retired Air Vice Marshal Mark Skidmore. He was a commander of Australia, and also he was the CEO of CASA. So he has extensive experience in the aviation business. And we're a spin-out from UNSW Canberra Space. We have, at UNSW Canberra, we have Australia's largest space engineering team of 50 people. Michael Frater is the rector of the Canberra campus, and he's giving us the top cover to really get us off the ground, and I guess you could say, launch us into orbit. So, customer problem. What we have identified through MH370, the aviation industry is bursting at the seams. There are significant gaps in the coverage. And we know there's going to be an additional 40,000 aircraft on top of roughly the 20,000 that exist today. That's commercial airlines. And that's over the next 20 years. So huge increase in the demand for air traffic management. We know that over the ocean, no coverage. It's all ground-based at the moment, and there's no coverage over the ocean area. So big gaps. And there's also significant pressure to make aircraft travel more environmentally friendly as well. That's framing the customer problem. Now Skykraft has the solution. Move things from the ground, put them into orbit, make it a space capability. And so we've designed a purpose-built constellation specifically for air traffic management purposes. A global constellation with novel engineering approaches to how we achieve this. And we're ideally positioned as well in the way we've approached this to adapt to new technologies, new capabilities as they come on board. So for example, drones and UAVs. In the coming years, as there's an explosion of that sort of capability, our constellation will adapt to that need. And we've built and launched satellites in the past, like I mentioned before. So we've reimagined the way we handle air traffic management. It's going to be through a constellation of SmallSats. Now, just so you know, a small satellite is ours will be roughly sort of this size. I'm bringing it down a little bit. It's about that size. We know that for flight operations, so the air traffic management side of the airline industry, we're looking at over $1 trillion over the next 20 years to be spent. So it's a market that is significant. We've also identified that we need a multinational partner to help us take this to market. So we do the space side. What we needed was an air traffic management expert, and that is a company called Indra, which I'll cover off later. So they are the ones that will take this to market. That's the 4-minute mark, so I'm going to keep going. So our constellation will improve safety, improve efficiency. It's going to be a significant cost reduction for the airlines and the air navigation service providers. Most importantly, no modification or recertification is required for the aircraft themselves. When you consider that they cost about $300 million each, that's significant. Our go-to-market partner is Indra Systemis, a 43,000 person company. Their specialty is air traffic management. They specialise in ground-based radar. They've seen the opportunity for putting things in space. They're a committed partner with us. And so we have a term sheet and an MOU signed with Indra. What's our roadmap? So the first stage is to build a version of the satellite on the ground. We need to test on the ground. It looks like a satellite, it operates like a satellite. That's our first step. We have a seed round open at the moment, of which we've raised $1 million, and the faster we go with this phase, the faster we go to launch. And that leads us to the second step, which is to actually build and launch 3 satellites. They're called Pathfinder missions. They're demonstration missions to prove out the technology in orbit, the inter-satellite links, and those sorts of capabilities are required. Thank you very much for your time. We can do space in Australia.